Good morning. Good to be here.
Yeah, man, it's the hour of Johns. We had you follow up John Leahy and John Bruno.
Nice. Gotta love it.
So what's up, man? Haven't talked to you in, about a year or so, and formerly of the Press of Atlantic City, but you're a wrestling guru. You live and breathe this stuff, so we wanted to catch up with you and get your thoughts on how the wrestling season's gone so far.
I appreciate that. Yeah, a lot of great wrestling down here, a lot of up-and-coming guys. I love the turnover year to year, see who's coming up, who's doing what, following the guys through college, that kind of thing. It's kind of everybody, a lot of people focus on North Jersey, but there's some great wrestling down here, too, in the recent years.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I believe it was last night, was Paulsboro-Delsey, so that was a matchup of number 1 and number 2. Yeah,
I saw that. Paulsboro, it's just an amazing place. It's a small school, and that is just a wrestling-centric town. Like, they are, they won however many, 28, 29, 30, whatever it was, Group 1 titles in a row, and those guys are just, there's just a toughness to them that you can't coach. Like, those guys just come up with that kind of that blue collar toughness to them. Those guys are brutal and they're back on top. They had a couple years where they're always top 10, always top 15 kind of thing, but now it seems like they're back on top with an impressive win over a tough Delsey team.
Yeah, it's kind of like some of those small towns in Texas where the whole town shuts down on a Friday night for football, and you get kind of that same feel at Paulsboro when it comes to wrestling.
It is, and that match. I don't know if you've seen a match up there. Anybody that's ever been up there, it's not the biggest gym in the world. The covering a few matches up there, you're shoulder to shoulder, and press row, which is a 2-table bench in between the bleachers there. But you kind of go down into their. It's almost in a basement kind of thing, and there's just a feel to it. It's kind of that. It's another one of those gyms where you don't want to wrestle a big match up in Paulsboro.
Well, I think didn't they get a new gym recently for wrestling?
I haven't been up there in a few years. Forgive me if I misspoke, but if I was them, I would make sure to still wrestle the big ones at that place.
I think they were trying to, but they kind of moved everything to the new gym, the pit, right?
Yeah, it's a shame because Phillipsburg did the same recently. You lose some of the flair with that stuff. I know everybody wants bigger and better and brighter and more seats and things like that, but I know. It was like I don't know if you followed that up in Phillipsburg, but there was.
Unless I'm thinking of I could be thinking of Phillipsburg. I could be wrong. I'm not sure. I get those two confused sometimes.
Yeah, I was going to say they're similar town up north there. And it was a big to do. I mean, people were going to board meetings and city council meetings trying to fight it. And just made an old historic gym, and yeah, that was the pit. I'm pretty sure that's what you're referring to.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah.
And they got this big, beautiful gym, but they actually found a way to kind of keep the old gym. And when they have big matches, they're still going back to the pit up there.
Nice. So, anybody really catch your eye so far? I know we're kind of not really too far into the wrestling season yet. We're kind of trying to get through some of these dual meets and Saturday quads, but you're starting to see some guys pile up some records. So, who's really caught your eye?
Absolutely. It's funny that turnover in high school wrestling, just the nature of the beast. You only get a few years there. You see the teams that St. Augustine graduated last year, Southern Regional up north a little bit, some of the top-notch wrestlers, all the state qualifiers and things like that. And you wonder, if it's going to be a down year. And sure enough, without fail, every year a few guys step up. One of the guys that's really jumped off the page at me right now, and I was kind of curious to see how he was going to bounce back this year, is Jake Maxwell from Buena Regional. Jake finished state place winner as a sophomore, comes down last year, junior year, and actually doesn't make the state tournament. He goes into his junior year after a state place winner as a sophomore. You kind of expect a guy to maybe make a run at a state title, try to get a little higher on the podium kind of thing. And then Jake missed out on the state tournament. I know he was super disappointed in himself, great competitor, and he has just been back with a vengeance this year. He's one of the top wins leaders in the area, and he's got he had bonus points in all but one match, I believe, the entire season, winning tournaments, beating top-notch guys. He beat I believe Avery Denardi from Holy Cross either last night or the night before. So he's just on he's on a tear right now, and look for him to make a deep run.
Another guy, John, that I'm interested in seeing how he does this year is a guy you're familiar with, Tim Fitzpatrick of Holy Spirit. He plays in the Beast of the East, so he's on the radar of somebody that can maybe make a run into states this year.
He is. It's funny. I first saw Timmy at a middle school tournament randomly, which I'm sure we'll try to mention that later, but. And I remember telling him, and I knew about him, and I had seen him a little bit, and I remember telling my guy he was wrestling for Mainland at the time, and I remember telling him, my guy, watch the ankle pick, and sure enough, 3 seconds into the match, Timmy ankle picked him to his back and pinned him. So, yeah, he's a heck of a wrestler, tough in all positions. Really talented guy. Yeah, you don't go up and place at the Beast of the East by accident. I mean, he's definitely got the talent to make a run. I know he had some health stuff last year. He was down in weight class kind of thing, and then but it came back healthy, and sure as heck looks healthy this year. They've got a few talented guys at Holy Spirit. Ralph Palone's doing a really nice job up there. For years the thing on them was they always had a couple talented kids. You go back to Mac Mancuso, and then recently with Pat Darcy, who's up at Princeton doing really well. But now they've actually kind of filled out the weight classes kind of thing, and they put a tough guy out there almost everywhere. They've got Fitzpatrick's doing really well. Mike Waz is doing really well. Down low, Alec Harper just beat Garcia from Pope John, who was a Beast of the East place winner. Those guys are really doing a good job. And then big guys, they drag Reggie Jean Charles off the football field. Another really good guy and a talented wrestler. He's an underrated wrestler. He's got some skills. If he kind of puts in the work this year, look for him to maybe even make a run up. And I don't know if he's going to go 220 or 285. But look for him to possibly make a run. So, yeah, Ralph's doing a really nice job with those guys.
Well, it's kind of funny. I actually wrote in the our most recent edition of Glory Days that came out this week that if you're somebody in that 220 weight class, that's not a guy you want to see go into districts. I mean, obviously he chose not to compete last year in the postseason to try to concentrate on football. But if he does choose to compete in the districts, that's going to be a tough matchup for anybody, whether he goes 220 or 285.
Yeah, he would be one of those guys that annoys the heck out of you because he's not going to have a whole lot of matches under his belt, so he's not going to have a lot of match criteria and stuff like that in terms of seeding. So he'll probably get a bad seed, and then he'll come out. You'll work your tail off all year to get a good seed, and then you'll end up facing him and getting your butt kicked.
Yeah, you go in as the 3 seed, and you see this monster staring back at you.
Exactly. He's definitely going to be one of those guys that ruins somebody's night at district, or I guess day now. They've all gone to one day tournaments, but he's definitely going to be, and he's a great kid. You know him from football and everything, and he's the last guy you want to see in the open field in football too. But yeah. But I kind of have a feeling he might go heavyweight if he does decide to go in the postseason this year. He did wrestle 220 this past week for the first time, but he's unbeaten at heavyweight. And even though he's obviously not the biggest heavyweight in the field, he's right around that 225 mark kind of thing, 230. He's just so athletic, and he's got the strength to do it. I know Jim Brady last year, he's up at Rutgers now playing football as a preferred walk-on, but Jim Brady with the prep did the same thing last year, kind of going back and forth with whether he was going to go 220 or 285. It's a tough call because, once you get to that state level, some of the heavyweights are 250 and can move like that. But, Reggie's got that. He's got the athleticism to do it if he does make that choice.
Talking with John O'Kane, local wrestling guru. John, another guy I'm really interested to watch in the next couple of weeks is Terrell Coleman from Egg Harbor Township. Here's a kid who made it to states last year, but I think he was a little too tentative offensively last year, and it looks like he's kind of made a big effort to really be more offensive. He's such a great defensive wrestler, and sometimes the opponent really dictates the pace of the match, and he's really gone out of his way to make that not happen this year and be the aggressor.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's one of those tough things with wrestling. I mean, the guys that do really well, I go back years ago to Frank Molinaro from Southern Regional. It's tough. A lot of these guys do really well. You see guys going unbeaten in the regular season and things like that. A lot of that comes into scheduling and who you wrestle against the different teams and stuff like that. But these guys run, roughshod through their regular season matches and things like that, and, they're doing all kinds of things. A lot of times you'll see these guys, though, they get to districts, they get to regions, all of a sudden they know their season could end. They get to these tough matches where it's win or go home kind of thing, and they kind of shut down. They don't let it fly, so to speak. A lot of times they have a tough time. You see it all the time at the state tournament. Some guys, they breeze through districts and regions. They get to the first night of states. All of a sudden they're winning 1-point matches and things like that. And it's kind of not in their character. But, yeah, Terrell is always – and I know we've talked about it in years past. He's an exciting guy to watch.
Yeah.
Flies all over the mat in all positions. He's quick. He's unbelievable. He can be real slick sometimes. Yeah, with him, it's not a lack of talent. With him, it's just a matter of opening up and letting it go on, in the big matches down the road here.
John, real quick, 20 seconds. Let us know what's going on tonight with the middle school wrestlers.
Yeah, absolutely. Super excited. One of my favorite nights of the year. It's the Atlantic Cape Cumberland Tournament. GTMS used to be at Ocean City. Now GTMS and Absegami actually host it. It'll be at Absegami tonight at 5 o'clock. And it's, a lot of the top. There's 7 or 8 teams from down here in South Jersey. Teams from, from Hamilton to us, Davies, Mays Landing, all the way down to Cape May, Middle Township, Ocean City. A lot of really good future wrestlers. Your Timmy Fitzpatrick's, guys like that. These are your guys you're going to see tonight.
Awesome, man. Good stuff. We got to let you go, but we'll catch up with you soon, man.
Thanks, Sully. Always good talking to you, man.
You got it. That was John O'Kane, Press of Atlantic City, former sports reporter there, wrestling guru. Let's